everybody, this is Alchemist2, and I'm back again with another episode review. I recently watched the original MMPR, and this was an episode that was suggested to me by my lovely friend BSA, and it was episode 25, otherwise known as Life is a Masquerade. And I remember as a child, I really adored this episode, because it's one of the many that we get to actually see Dragon Zord in action, and they're throwing a masquerade ball, and Rita's making a super putty, but she sends out a Frankenstein monster, and they all think it's Tommy. Of course, it's not. It's Rita's monster. But one thing I really thought that was so funny is Bulk and Skull's lack of originality. We're gonna go as young Elvis and older Elvis, and then Bulk throws out his bag as, oh, my back. It falls over. But I remember this actually brings back a lot of memories. When I was younger, I would have another friend pretend like she was Bulk, I was Skull. So I would always be the one going on these adventures and leading her by the hand and getting into all sorts of shenanigans. But I can actually still imitate that laugh to a T. It's really quite something. It's so silly. Yeah, but it's kind of in the it's to the back of the throat, and I do a lot of throat singing. I've tried to learn how to do singing from the diaphragm. That's probably why I'm going to go back to choir in order to learn that. But I remember that laugh when when the domino effect happens and the paint can lands on his head. He's like, "Hey, Bulk, you look like a ghost." Yeah, I know I did it a little bit too loud though. But yeah, I can actually do it, but much to the delight of everybody around me. But yeah, that brings back actually a lot of memories. And side note, Polly, thank you. I appreciate you going out on a limb when I was going through that hard time. I'm hoping I can actually meet you and give you a hug now, because I owe you. I owe you and all my friends. And yeah, it's been kind of rough, actually, but I start work on the 27th. It's just a job to get me by, but I know I've probably said that before, so that's me, like a broken record. But I really enjoyed this episode, just to see all the costumes that were involved, and Alpha actually having another appearance in an episode, just because he knows that he can sneak in without being noticed. He's very inconspicuous. And the girls just love him. Apparently, Alpha's quite suave. And just hearing Richard Horvitz again. I love Richard. I didn't even realize Richard provided the voice of Alpha. I had no clue. It was only later that I read his bio, and I thought, oh, that's probably my first introduction to Mr. Horvitz's work and Barbara Goodson. And I always I love Barbara as Rita. I don't think anybody could have portrayed her better. And just hearing her delivery, and just she gets some of the best lines, I think. But in this episode, yeah, she had some good ones here. But her favorite, not her favorite, but my favorite. 3 episodes, I should say. It's the trilogy of the wedding, because I think that she had the wittiest delivery in any particular episode that I have seen before or since. And also, my favorite thing, I remember I used to pretend when I was younger that I could control the dragon, so I had to go, bah, 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 bah. Okay, yeah, I have problems, but who wouldn't want that flute, though? Who wouldn't want that flute? Who wouldn't want control of the Dragon Zord? But one thing that occurred to me is collateral damage. I thought, due to constraints of time and budget, we can't show the aftermath of what happened during the Megazord War, or the Megazord battle there. And it never really occurred to me about it. Was thinking about Evangelion, and in Evangelion they actually don't they don't sugarcoat it in Godzilla films either, and that's one reason why I was such a big fan. Other than they're poorly dubbed, they don't poorly dub them anymore, thank God. But the newer ones are better, and it brought back memories of my childhood. I'm thinking, yeah, Mom got me into B movies. She got me into just all the B horror films and Godzilla, and I became a big fan of Godzilla. And yeah, it was something I could never look back from. It's always been something that has driven me, and yeah, it's very much part of my childhood and what shaped me. And it brings back a lot of nostalgia. And I'm seeing a commercial for King Kong, and I grew up with the original and King Kong versus Godzilla, of course, because I'm a fan of both. I'm kind of torn because I love Godzilla, don't get me wrong. Godzilla, I don't know. It's, for me, I've always been drawn by monsters, and especially dragons. If they're anything like dragons, I'll gravitate in that direction, or my attention is immediately taken. I'm just magnetized and transfixed. And with King Kong, it was always just the stop motion animation. Of course, with CGI nowadays, there's no comparison between what was done then and what is done now. I'm getting off on all sorts of tracks of all kinds of things that I enjoy, but I think this series was my first real introduction to mechs, because before I had never really been into giant robots, but ever since then I've been hardcore. I'm really into Gundam Unicorn. They just started re-airing that on Cartoon Network, and I adore Gundam Unicorn, Char Aznable, even though he's detestable. I don't know. I like characters that are like that. Just because they're alluring to me. The mystery of a character like that. It's always been something that has been intriguing to me, and just the whole fact that he has a reason behind wearing the mask, and I find that very enigmatic, and you want to chip away at the facets that make him the loathsome flea that he is, and despite that you still feel compelled by him. That's why, I mean, he's one of my favorite villains of all time. I really enjoy just different characters like that, and I think that's why I like Rita so much, because she's absolutely gorgeous. I think the woman who plays her, or played her, she still looks really quite amazingly good for her age, and you love to hate her. It's just, that's what makes her, and she's just fun. She's just a very detestable villainess, and she is along the same lines of what was her name in Sailor Moon? I can't think of her name. What is escaping me? It's the same kind of dynamic there, I think. But she had that same kind of vibe for me. So it was, when I got into Sailor Moon, it was just, yeah, not that far of a stretch, really. But that's basically all I have to say about episode 25 of MMPR. It was a really solid episode, and I really enjoyed it. So until next time, live long and prosper. Ciao, Tizzy.